The new Lord Slayton had laughed at the idea of calling the death murder.
"If you hanged a man for killing in a game of football," he had said, "then you'll hang half England."
Hook's father had been a shepherd. He left a pregnant widow and 2 sons, and the widow died within 2 months of her husband's death as she gave birth to a stillborn daughter. She died on the feast day of St. Nicholas, which was Nick Hook's 13th birthday, and his grandmother said that coincidence proved that Nick was cursed. She tried to lift the curse with her own magic. She stabbed him with an arrow, driving the point deep into his thigh, then told him to kill a deer with the arrow and the curse would go away. Hook had poached one of Lord Slayton's hinds, killing it with the blood-stained arrow, but the curse had remained. The perils lived and the feud went on. A fine apple tree in the garden of Hook's grandmother had died, and she insisted it had been old Mother Peril who had blighted the fruit.
"The Perils always have been putrid, turd-sucking bastards," his grandmother said.
She put the evil eye on Tom Peril and on his younger brother Robert, but old Mother Peril must have used a counterspell because neither fell ill. The 2 goats that Hook kept on the common disappeared, and the village reckoned it had to be wolves, but Hook knew it was the Perils. He killed their cow in revenge, but it was not the same as killing them.
"It's your job to kill them," his grandmother insisted to Nick, but he never found the opportunity. "May the devil make you spit shit," she cursed him, "and then take you to hell."
She threw him from her home when he was 16.
"Go and starve, you bastard," she snarled.
She was going mad by then, and there was no arguing with her, so Nick Hook left home and might well have starved, except that was the year he came first in the 6 villages competition, putting arrow after arrow into the distant mark. Lord Slayton made Nick a forester, which meant he had to keep his lordship's table heavy with venison.
"Better you kill them legally," Lord Slayton had remarked, "than be hanged for poaching."
Now on St. Winibald's Day, just before Christmas, Nick Hook watched his arrow fly towards Tom Peril. It would kill, he knew it. The arrow flew true, dipping slightly between the high frost-bright hedges. Tom Peril had no idea it was coming. Nick Hook smiled. Then the arrow fluttered. A fledging had come loose. Its glue and binding must have given way, and the arrow veered leftwards to slice down the horse's flank and lodge in its shoulder. The horse whinnied, reared and lunged forward, jerking the great elm trunk loose from the frozen ruts. Tom Peril turned and stared up at the high wood, then understood a second arrow could follow the first, and so turned again and ran after the horse. Nick Hook had failed again. He was cursed. Lord Slayton slumped in his chair. He was in his 40s, a bitter man who had been crippled at Shrewsbury by a sword thrust in the spine, and so would never fight another battle. He stared sourly at Nick Hook.
"Where were you on St. Winibald's Day?"
"When was that, my lord?" Hook asked with apparent innocence.
"Bastard!"
Lord Slayton spat, and the steward struck Hook from behind with the bone handle of a horsewhip. "Don't know which day that was, my lord," Hook said stubbornly.
2 days ago,"
Sir Martin said. He was Lord Slayton's brother-in-law and priest to the manor and village. He was no more a knight than Hook was, but Lord Slayton insisted he was called Sir Martin in recognition of his high birth.
"Oh,"
Hook pretended a sudden enlightenment. "I was coppicing the ash under Beggar's Hill, my lord."
"Liar,"
Lord Slayton said flatly. William Snowball, steward and chief archer to his lordship, struck Hook again, slashing the whip's butt hard across the back of the forester's skull. Blood trickled down Hook's scalp. "On my honour, lord," Hook lied earnestly.
"The honour of the Hook family,"
Lord Slayton said dryly, before looking at Hook's younger brother Michael, who was 17.
"Where were you?"
"I was thatching the church porch, my lord," Michael said.
"He was,"
Sir Martin confirmed. The priest, lanky and gangling in his stained black robe, bestowed a grimace that was supposed to be a smile on Nick Hook's younger brother. Everyone liked Michael. Even the Perils seemed to exempt him from the hatred they felt for the rest of the Hook.